Hey, how's it going? Zach D Productions here, and I'm here for, I guess you can call it an album review. I mean, it's not really a review per se, because I'm not going to really go full in-depth with this album here. I would recommend watching someone else's review if that's what you're looking for. I just wanted to give my take more than anything on this album, my thoughts on this new album by Soen, which is entitled Memorial. Now, some of you guys probably are aware that I did become a Soen fan maybe a couple of years ago. I know it was around when their album Imperial came out, and I really liked that album. That was actually the album that pretty much got me into their music. But unfortunately, Soen is another band that kind of falls under that category of bands that have just dropped off for me. I think at the end of the day, they're just one of those bands where I only like a few songs from, you know? Now, I think if you were to take all their best songs and then put it on an album and you had more albums like that from the band, I probably would be a big fan of Soen. But unfortunately, as of late, this band just hasn't been doing it for me. So I can't say leading up to this new album, Memorial, I was too excited for it. I mean, I was a little optimistic, you could say. I mean, I knew I wanted to check it out because I do, even to this day, I still do like some stuff from Soen. And they're one of the only newer bands that I kind of like as well. And I say kind of like because obviously, like I said, they kind of fell off for me. But I still like some of their stuff, of course. So I wanted to give my take on Memorial, Soen's newest album. And this is easily one of their weakest albums, I just have to say that. I mean, this might even be Soen's worst album, actually. I mean, to be honest, I was not into this album. I mean, it has a few good songs, I think. I think that there's a couple standout moments on the album. But this album was boring. It was extremely underwhelming. I mean, it's not really anything you haven't heard from Soen before. I mean, if I didn't know that Soen was releasing a new album and you were to have me listen to this album and tell me that, hey, this was a collection of B-sides or outtakes from their last album or something, I probably would have believed you because, well, again, these songs, they're not really anything special. They're not really anything we haven't heard from Soen before, which is kind of a letdown. I mean, they did try some different ideas here and there, like one of the songs they had a guest singer, Elisa, which I did react to on the channel. It's called Hollowed, and this is actually one of the standouts on this album. This is actually one of the better songs off of this album. I really love the melodies, and, you know, I believe I've even stated before that melodies like this are what really got me into Soen in the first place. Like, this is what really, I guess, hooked me onto Soen's music, you could say. But unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of that on this album. I mean, I do like their heavy stuff. I mean, their heavy stuff is good. I mean, the riff work, you know, it's not anything spectacular or anything, but I think it's good for what it is, though. I do like the last 3 songs on the album. I think that those songs were, you know, kind of all right. You know, I like them for what they are. They're not amazing or great or anything, but I do kind of like them for what they are. I mean, they're some of the more melodic songs on the album, which, you know, I do like Soen's melodies and what they go for as far as their melodies are concerned. And I did kind of like the first single, which is the title track, Memorial. I kind of like the song for what it is. I mean, it's not anything special like with the rest of the album. It is just kind of standard Soen, you could say that. But I do think it's a decent song for what it is. So overall, I just wasn't too big of a fan of this album. I mean, it's okay. Like, it's an okay album. I wouldn't call it straight up trash or anything. Like, I wouldn't say that, like, you know, this album was awful or whatever. It's just kind of meh for me. It's just kind of meh. You could say that. I mean, it's, again, it's not really anything special. And you have to think to yourself, like, why would you rather listen to this than, say, the last 2 or 3 albums from Soen, which I think are a lot better than this. I think Lotus was better. Imperial was better as well. I mean, they're definitely better than this album. I mean, this album for me, Memorial, it's not all that strong. It's not terrible, like I said, not awful. It's just boring, and it's not really anything special in my opinion. So that's kind of my take on Soen's latest album, Memorial. If I were to give this a score, I'd still probably maybe give it like a 5 out of 10, maybe even a 4.5 or something. I don't know. It's just kind of a meh album for me, but that's just my opinion. If you like the album, good for you. I'm glad that you do like this album, but it's just not for me personally. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.